Good evening, dear viewers. Welcome to the Djibouti channels. Here are our news editions, and we are beginning with the headlines. The head of state preside the lying stone of the first line of the first of the first residential city, Sabah, on continental new and health improved security conditions in Tripoli, the capital of Libya. Welcome if you join us in Djibouti channel under the patronage of the head of state, Mr. Ismail Omargele, took place today at Beka 3. The ceremony of laying the foundations stone of the construction for a new residential city, which will count to 227 duplex villas, and that will realize Sabah Bank. The Sabah Bank has also changed its name or domination from Sabah Islamic Bank to Sabah African Bank. In presiding over this ceremony, the head of state did not fail to salute at the same time the initiative of Sabah Bank to be interested in the real estate sector to diversify its activity than to proceed a change of name or visual identity. The Sabah African Bank ceremony took place at Beka 3 near the Salama Mosque. Sabah Bank started banking activities in Djibouti in 2006 and has returned its leadership as a banking structure, facilitating Djiboutians' loans on the construction of housing and private properties. It was the first Islamic bank to operate in Djibouti. This financial institution has since diversified to create constellations of leading companies. It has become an influential bank in the Arab markets and the Djibouti market in particular, which has helped support our development process over the past decade. Sabah Bank has proven to be a strong competitor in the country's banking market, leveraging its capabilities and effort to deliver innovative and effective products and services while adhering to the principles of Sharia. Along with the launch of its new brand or institutional identity, Sabah African Bank will build a new residential city called Sabah, and that will include 227 luxury villas.
يا طيارة دارسية يا تقالها تكينة طلعوا ضرور تقية يا نتوقع ناطر يلي.
At the lying ceremony, the cornerstone, the chairman of the board of the director, the bank returned to the history of the financial institution since its installations in Djibouti. This project, which include 227 villa and a commercial tower. This initiative supports the effort of the government represented by the Ministry of Housing Environment to provide adequate housing for many segments of Djiboutian society. According to the governor of the Central Bank of Djibouti, the total cost of the project is estimated at some 6.5 billion francs of Djibouti. The space reserved for project will occupy an area of 1,000 square meters. This financial institution has since diversified to create a constellation of leading company. The governor added during his speech that Saba becomes an influential bank in the Arab market and the Djibouti market in particular, which has helped support our development process. Over the past decade, Saba Bank has proven to be a strong competitor in the country's banking market, leveraging its capabilities and effort to deliver innovative and effective products and services while adhering to the principles of Sharia. In a speech delivered on this occasion, the head of state, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, welcomed both the change of the name of Saba Bank and its initiative to invest in the real estate sector. For more details, follow this report.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. في خطوة جديدة تعكس توسع مجالات خدمات البنوك.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a new phase that reflects the expansions of banking services, we are laying the foundation stone for the Sabah residential complex implemented by Sabah African Group, one of the country's leading bank. We can only welcome this unique initiative, which open up promising prospects for investments by the banking sector in real estate development and the urban, but also the urban development. The new experience of creating a modern residential complex in which Sabah African Bank has decided to engage, having proven itself in the banking sector, adds to the Frizine effort in sustainable housing and urban development, an important experience to follow. Ladies and gentlemen, ensuring social and economic security is an urgent priority, and this can only be achieved by providing decent living conditions and ensuring adequate housings. In this context, the issue of housing is one of the most important issues for the government since its inception, and we reaffirm our determination to continue our tireless effort in housing citizens. On this occasion, I would like to draw attention to the fact that we want in 2018 to be the year of housing projects, especially the current year has been rich in achievement. Despite this remarkable development, housing needs remain large-scale needs, and their response remain a process that require a long breath and at the same time require concerted effort by the authorities and the civil society. In this regard, we urge all private sector institutions to keep pace with the government tireless effort and to actively participate to the completion of housing projects. We call on banks operating in the country to follow the example of Sabah African Bank and to adopt similar initiatives. We also invite Sabah Bank to continue its prestigious journey and not to stop on the current real estate project of 227 complex. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Bank of Sabah for changing brands, give a new and more updated image of the bank. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate our inspirations for the active participations of the private sector and pay tribute to the Sabah residential project inspired by the modern and contemporary conceptions of Djibouti history and heritage.
We can only welcome this unique initiative, which open up promising prospects for investment for the banking sector in real estate development and urban development, said the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. Let's follow the second part of his speech.
In his speech in the Somali language during the ceremony of laying the foundation stone of the future Sabah residence at Pika 13, President Ismail Omar Guelleh congratulated the heads of Sabah African Bank for their effort to promote the activities of Islamic finance in Djibouti. Sabah Bank is the flagship and the first Islamic bank in Djibouti. The head of state recalled Sabah scores in the history of Yemen. He stressed that many citizens were not aware of the role of Islamic banks in the development of Djibouti. President Gelle called on the Central Bank of Djibouti to play its role in informing the public of the nature of the services, different services of Islamic banks and traditional banks, as well as the advantage and the skills of Islamic banks, particularly with regard to financing and saving. Finally, the President of the Republic welcomed the transformations of Saba Bank into the National Bank. He invited Djiboutian citizens to contribute to the capital of the bank.
The President then granted an interview in Somali to the journalists attending this ceremony that this event was the first of its gender. Let's follow the interview of the President.
In an interview on national television, the head of state, His Excellency Madam Merkel, stressed the importance of the constructions of this residential city, which include 227 dwellings. Basically, that these dwellings are intended for the middle class. This project was implemented near 540 homes in which citizens have settled, as well as more than 200 housing units that will be completed soon, and another 840 homes. We will continue to implement these projects over the coming period, in addition to housing projects implemented by the Foundation Right to Housings. We have given banks the necessary instructions to contribute to housing projects and offer loans on favorable terms to those who want to build social housing. Saba African Bank has since its creation in 2006 from 1 billion to 23 billion of francs of loan granted to its customers for the realizations of various projects, as pointed out the governor of the central bank. It is essential that all efforts are combined to meet the growing needs for the housing sector in the country.
The National Women's Union of Djibouti has today organized an International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women. The ceremony was attended by the Minister of Women and Family, Mrs. Moumina Ahmed Hassan, the Union of National Women of Djibouti Vice President, Mrs. Hasna Ahmed Bilil, as well as the representative of the European Union, Aden Goulage, and the representative of Danish Refugees Council, the Minister of the Justice, parliamentarian representatives, and the guests for this year 2080. The main union, the National Union of Women flag banner of the fight against the violence against the women, violence of women in the Djibouti has chosen at the theme of ending gender-based violence in the world of work. The 6 days of activities starting today is also an opportunity for victims as well as for the various associations that defend directly and on a large scale public opinion on the way they look at violence to women and girls. All Djibouti mobilized this afternoon for a great march to say no to violence against women. This great march, which threw together members of government, both government member and ordinary citizen, were initiated by the National Union for Women and the update as part of the International Day Against Violence Women. This big gathering started on the road of the airport to cover towards the old technical center, the municipal stadiums, and the Secretary of Social Affairs and the leaders of the National Union of Women, as well as executives of many institutions. The President of the National Assembly, The President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamad, shared this morning a launch workshop on the formulations of laws on food and nutritional security. The workshop is organized by the National Assembly in partnership with the FAO, which took place in the presence of the Minister of Farming, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale, and the representative of the Union Nations, including UNICEF, the representative of FAO in Djibouti, Mr. Bizang. The President of the National Assembly recalled the role of parliamentarians in eradicating hunger and malnutrition requires political will. Parliamentarians are best placed to raise the priority of food and nutritional security in political agenda and to drive change, concluded the President of the Assembly. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, received this morning a high-level Japanese delegation led by the Ambassador of the Republic of Japan to our country. During the meeting, the two sides discussed the aspect of cooperations between Djibouti and Japan, in particular of military cooperation between the two institutions. Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun welcomed the Japanese delegation and congratulated the excellent relations between the two countries. Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Have a good night and goodbye.